These are not all her own personal paychecks, because obviously she's not going to be getting 4 or 5 different paychecks on the same exact day. Rather, these are multiple people's paychecks that she's compiling together for the purpose of this reel. So I slowed it down and I looked at each one individually. The first paycheck is for $1,094. The second paycheck is for $822. The third paycheck is $887. The fourth paycheck is $1,081. And then she does post a fifth paycheck, but I noticed it was just a duplicate of the first one. So she's posting what looks like 5 different screenshots, but one of them is doubled. The first and last paycheck are the exact same screenshot, so I don't know why she included it twice. Anyway, 4 different paychecks, 2 of them for about $1,000, 2 of them around $800. And my assumption is that these are all from different people. And her caption says, do you need financial breathing room? $300 extra a month, $500 extra, $1,000 extra? How much do you need? With all kinds of hashtags, financial breathing room, side gig, side hustle, extra income, women in business, etc. Okay, so I have a few thoughts. And the first thought immediately is that, hey, these aren't terrible paychecks, honestly. These are monthly paychecks, so $800 a month, $1,000 a month. As long as this is not your full-time job and your full-time income, that's honestly not too bad. If Plexus is your only source of income, then these amounts are not great at all, actually. This is far less than you could make at minimum wage jobs. But if this is your side hustle or your extra income, this is not a bad amount of extra income every month. And I have no problem acknowledging that. I would love to have an extra $1,000 a month. Are you kidding me? Who wouldn't? But here's where it gets dicey, is my first instinct was to look at these screenshots of the paychecks being posted publicly and to think to myself, well, obviously that's against policy. You can't be posting your paychecks, because that is the case for many MLM companies. There is explicit writing in their policies and procedures that says you cannot post your paychecks on social media. You cannot be sharing the actual explicit numbers. We cannot be doing that. However, when I looked at Plexus's policies and procedures document, it says a brand ambassador is prohibited from making false, misleading, inaccurate, or unrepresentative claims regarding earning potential. If a brand ambassador does make an income claim, it must be based on actual earnings. It must not be misleading and must contain the required disclaimer as follows. Quote, Plexus makes no guarantees on income, as such representations may be misleading. Your success depends on your effort, commitment, skill, and leadership abilities and how effectively you exercise those qualities. Please see the Plexus annual income disclosure statement. End quote. So actually, the way that I'm interpreting this, it looks like for Plexus specifically, you might be okay to make an income claim saying that you made $800 this month if you're able to provide screenshot evidence that you actually did make $800 this month. It's only saying that you can't make false or misleading or misrepresentative claims. But if you're posting a picture of your actual paycheck, that's not false, that's not misleading. That is the amount that you really did get paid. So what I'm gathering is that it might not be against compliance to post your paychecks, which is interesting because for a lot of companies that is against compliance. However, this specific reel is in violation of Plexus's compliance because nowhere in the reel or in the caption does she copy and paste that disclaimer saying that Plexus guarantees no income and that you should go and look at the income disclosure statement for the real numbers. She's not in violation of compliance for posting the screenshots, but she is in violation of compliance for not putting the required disclaimer on it. And as the disclaimer says, go look at the income disclosure statement to see what people are really making. And that's where things continue to get dicey because in the most recent income disclosure statement that I could find at least is from 2020 and they don't tell us how much people at each rank in Plexus are making. However, they do say that the top 1% of brand ambassadors made an average of $37,000 annually, and 50% of that top 1% made more than $14,875. So this isn't looking good. If we're looking at the whole pyramid of Plexus and we're zooming in on just the top 1%, this is saying that 50% of that top 1% made more than $14,875.
I am drawing a little chair from memory, so if it's not like anatomically correct, just look the other way, you know?
Looking back at these paycheck screenshots through a different lens. The income disclosure statement is telling me that people earning these kinds of paychecks very well could be classified as being within the top 1% of the company. So now this amount really doesn't look impressive at all. Sure, $800 to $1,000 extra per month sounds great, but you're telling me that that's a typical amount for people get myself to the top 1%.
Let me save this real
first,
quick
the
on
next bullet even
Pinterest.
says that the top 10% of brand ambassadors made an average of $5,000 annually.
Something,
That's
something
nothing,
checks,
you
something
guys. People in the top 10% of the company are only making $5,000 on average a year. This is where everything starts to fall apart, and that's why I feel like it's important to showcase here. If you're scrolling on Instagram and you stumble upon this reel and you see that people in Plexus are apparently making $1,000 monthly paychecks, that doesn't look so bad, right? Like, heck, I want an extra $1,000 a month. Maybe this opportunity would be good for me. Maybe I'll reach out to her for more information. But once we start to dig into it, we discover that this post is not compliant with the policies and procedures of the company. She needed to have a disclaimer, and she did not put that disclaimer. And if she did give the disclaimer, then it would direct people to the true numbers, where they learn that making this kind of money is highly unlikely, and there's even people in the top 1% of the company who aren't even making this much. And that's the true issue here. It's deception. I'm not denying the fact that some people in MLMs can make legitimate good money, but what I am saying is that it's highly unlikely. And sometimes people in these companies will be intentionally shady about giving you the full picture of their earnings in order to deceive you into believing that this kind of money is possible for you too, and that it is likely that if you join the company that you're going to get $1,000 paychecks as well. And that's just not the case. And I don't know this person, I don't know her rank, I don't know if she's within the top 1% or not, but what I can tell you is that based on Plexus's own numbers that they have reported on their most recent income disclosure statement from 2020, you gotta make it dang near close to the top of the pyramid if you want to make this kind of money, and making it to the top of an MLM pyramid is very difficult. So it's not likely that you're gonna make that kind of money too. Next up is a short Instagram story from a Monate market partner.
I am very, very excited. I'm only accepting a few influencer applications because of the fact that I want to focus on making sure that you guys are set up for success and know exactly what to do and feel confident doing it. So I'm going to leave my link here. Take the influencer application. This is just for me to see if it would be a good match for you.
Very short Instagram story, but there's a lot of issues here. Firstly, let's tackle this whole language of influencer. It is of my belief that using the term influencer in this context is highly misleading. Sure, I suppose that if you take the definition of influencer literally at face value, then it does make some sense, because if you join an MLM to start selling their products, your goal is to generate interest and to therefore influence people to buy it. If taken literally, I can see how MLM reps would consider themselves to be influencers in that sense. However, I think there is a difference between true influencers and MLM reps. I see an MLM rep as somebody who signs up for an MLM company one day, and they essentially start paying that company to promote their products and their products only. You don't have to have a large following to join an MLM. You don't have to have a loyal audience. You don't have to create content of any kind of value on social media at all. You quite literally just have to go to the website, pay a fee, sign up, boom, now you are an influencer, as they call it. And I think that's problematic. Because on the other hand, I see true influencers as people who have built a genuine audience based on a genuine niche content that does offer value to the viewer. Whether that is lifestyle content or fashion content, comedy content, farming, home renovation, anti-MLM content, etc. And then those content creators partner with a variety of different brands under a contractual agreement that says, hey, I will promote your product to my audience in exchange for this kind of compensation. In other words, it's like saying that I will give your company or product this amount of space or airtime on my platform that's already well established and I already have a loyal following for a price. There are absolutely right and wrong ways to go about this. There are absolutely unethical influencers out there, but that's not the discussion at hand. The point is that, in my opinion, MLM reps are not influencers. Sure, they may have the same goal of influencing their audience to buy something, but that's where the similarities end. Influencers don't dedicate their entire social media platform to the promotion of one single product or one single company. But MLM reps do. Influencers do not go to the company and pay them in order to market and sell their products, but MLM reps do. And finally, influencers don't have to recruit other people to also become influencers if they want to make any money, but MLM reps do. And And I say all of this, and I take you down this huge tangent of explaining the differences because in this day and age, it feels like being an influencer is somewhat of a popular and sought after job title among young people. It's trendy, it's cool, it has the potential to pay really well, and those things are appealing to some people. And MLM reps know that. They know that it's appealing. They know that it's sought after. And in my opinion, they kind of want to market their MLM business opportunity as the way to become an influencer overnight, basically. Like, all you have to do is pay to sign up, you start promoting the products, and then boom, you are an influencer. And I'm sorry, but it's just not that easy. You can't just skip over all those necessary steps of creating valuable content that the viewer actually wants to consume, building an entire platform based on that content, cultivating a genuine audience of loyal followers, and only then are you really of value to brands, and only then do they reach out to you saying, hey, you got a good thing going over here, can we work out a deal where you promote my product to that audience that you've built? And that whole process takes a lot of time, a lot of work, a lot of energy, and it's not something that typically happens overnight. And personally, I think that's why MLM reps play off of the influencer language, that joining an MLM is a quick and easy fix to becoming an influencer overnight, although that's not the case at all. Young people these days have a desire to become influencers, but actually doing that can be difficult and it can take a lot of time and energy. So MLMs are pitched as the easy route. And I know that that was a really long-winded tangent about influencers, but I think it's important to point out because it's another soft spot for people. It's another point to be preyed upon. It's another aspect in this day and age of these new MLMs and using social media to promote those MLMs that is appealing to young people. And people might get sucked into MLMs not because they think the products are life-changing, not because they think they're going to be a millionaire, but because they want to be an influencer, because that title to them is really appealing. And I think that's really interesting and worth pointing out. And the second